Welcome to another episode of the For the Love of Cricket podcast with Jim and Akim. I know you guys have missed us over the past week and we're back. We'll be discussing the team of the tournament. I've picked my 11. Akim has picked his 11. We'll see who comes closer to an ideal team, and if necessary, we'll combine the squads to create such. How was the World Cup for you?
I think it was very entertaining. It's been a World Cup where a lot of talk has surrounded it. There's been a lot of talk about the future of 50 over cricket, but I believe that based on the cricket that was played and the level of entertainment that was provided, 50 over cricket is still alive and well. I think the challenge really lies with the ICC to schedule it properly and market it so it remains appealing to fans around the world as well as the cricket boards and the players.
When you speak of scheduling, are you mentioning the fact that each team played 9 games in the group stage?
I'm not really talking about the World Cup itself in terms of scheduling. I'm talking about the bilateral series that lead up to the World Cup in the cycle. I think that sometimes the series are probably too long and it almost feels as if it is an overload of cricket and there are some meaningless games that are played. I believe that the series could be a bit shorter and a bit more meaning could be added to them.
Could you give me like 2 players who stood out in the tournament for you?
Well, outside of the obvious stars, for me, I think 2 players that stood out were Rachin Ravindra and Gerald Coetzee. I think those 2 were outstanding for the teams. Ravindra, he was the young player of the tournament for me. He was outstanding. He scored 3 centuries in the tournament. That alone says it. Coetzee is an interesting case because he really only got to the tournament as a replacement for Nortje from South Africa, and he was really South Africa's impact bowler in the tournament. I believe he took the most wickets for them and he was exciting to watch.
Any surprises?
I was surprised at the performances of some of the England players, I would say. We've spoken about them all tournament, but I was particularly disappointed in Jos Buttler and Moeen Ali. Moeen Ali is one of my favorite players, so I was a bit disappointed in him. And I was also disappointed in Johnny Bairstow. I expected a bit more from him.
And your thoughts on Afghanistan?
They were the surprise team of the tournament, I would say. They played quality cricket. They looked very competitive in almost all of the games, and they have a very exciting future. They have a number of young players, and if they can continue to grow from stride to stride and they can have enough cricket scheduled, they should really become a force in world cricket, especially limited overs cricket.
All right, thanks for that. I think we should get into our 11s. You want to go first?
All right, I'll go first. My 11 is captained by Rohit Sharma, of course. He is the opener. Rohit Sharma scored 1 century in the tournament and 3 half centuries, and he had an average of 54. I think what happens with Rohit Sharma is that his numbers probably don't tell the full story. I think he played a very selfless role in the tournament, and that allowed the team to flourish around him. My second player is Quinton de Kock. That goes without mentioning for me. He scored 4 centuries in the tournament. He had an average of 59. He was dominant, he was aggressive, and he carried the bulk of South Africa's batting, so I couldn't leave him out. Interestingly, at 3, everybody would expect Virat Kohli at this number, but for me, I have Rachin Ravindra. He scored 3 centuries and 2 half centuries, and he had an average of 64. I think he played an outstanding role in the tournament. Kane Williamson missed a big part of it, and he really filled in wherever New Zealand needed him. He opened in some of the games, he batted at 3 in some of the games, and he got centuries in both positions. And I really could not leave him out of the tournament, being that he was the best young player, in my opinion. At 4, Virat Kohli, could not leave him out. He averaged 95 in the tournament. He scored 3 centuries, 6 half centuries. He scored the most runs ever in an edition of the World Cup, and he was brilliant for India right throughout. Disappointed that he did not win the World Cup, but for me, the outstanding player of the tournament. At 5, Daryl Mitchell, one of my favorite players in the tournament. He averaged 69 and he scored 2 centuries, 2 half centuries. I think he scored 2 centuries against the best team in the tournament, the best bowling team, India. He was very positive. I loved his foot movement, especially against the spinners, and he's a quality player. At 6, Glenn Maxwell, the big show, the entertainer. He is one of the players that will be responsible for Australia winning this World Cup. He didn't play a major role in the semi-final or the final, but that double century that he scored against Afghanistan, I believe, was one of the turning points for Australia in the tournament. It was a match-winning knock, a knock of the ages, really. It's the first time a player has scored a double century in one-day international cricket who has not been an opener. So, outstanding. After him is Ravindra Jadeja. He averaged 40 with the bat, limited opportunities, but he picked up 16 wickets. A holding player for India, applied pressure in the middle, and he took a 5-wicket haul. Can't leave him. Mohammad Shami goes without mentioning. He took the most wickets in the tournament. He had 3 5-wicket hauls, and he averaged 10.7 with the ball. Can't leave him out. After that, Jasprit Bumrah. This one was a difficult decision to make for me. There were other people that I considered, but he was the leader of India's attack, I would say. He picked up 20 wickets at an average of 18. Consistent performer right throughout. Adam Zampa is the next player in my team at number 10. He took 23 wickets, and I think he was a big part of Australia winning this World Cup. He started badly in the first 2 games, but when he really found rhythm and found form, it changed the tide of the World Cup for Australia. He picked up 3 consecutive 4-wicket hauls, and they were in games that Australia needed to win, and it really changed the focus. He averaged 22 with the ball. He was very good. And number 11 for me is Gerald Coetzer. Could not leave him out. He's one of my favorite players from the tournament, one of the favorite fast bowlers, I would say. He was very exciting. He didn't bowl a new ball roll, but he bowled more towards the middle. He was the enforcer. He got the ball to bowl fast. He bowled with aggression. He picked up wickets, and he was a new face in the tournament. Couldn't leave him. At number 12 for me is Madhushankar. He picked up more wickets than Bumrah and Coetzer, but I think the other players had a greater impact in their teams progressing deep in the tournament, so I think they played a more significant role. And that's my
your 11.
Team of the tournament.
That's your 11.
Yeah.
That's 12 people.
So 11 and Madhushankar on the bench.
So you just make a constellation 11 because I couldn't leave Madhushankar out. All right. My team is pretty similar, but we have some issues. As I said, Rohit Sharma is at 1. He is the captain. His opening partner would be Quinton de Kock. Virat Kohli has to bat number 3 for me. Based on how Rachin Ravindra has been used throughout his career so far, he's more flexible, up, down, and at the top, in the middle, and in the lower middle order for New Zealand. And he has played pretty well in all those roles. Virat Kohli is a bit more finicky about where he bats, and we don't want to upset the king. So he'll be at number 3 for me. Then Rachin is at 4 for me. Daryl Mitchell, 5. I'm going with Shreyas Iyer instead of Ravindra Jadeja. Yes, Jadeja bowled well, but Shreyas Iyer really pushed the scores for India, and he dominated the spinners. I think him and Daryl Mitchell will pair very well in the middle. They will get going against spinners, and they will destroy fast bowlers in the end. Glenn Maxwell is at 7. That double century was scintillating, and he also scored this. He also has the second fastest 100 in a one-day international as well. As I said, the first non-opener to score a double century in one-day internationals, and the first person to do it in a chase.
Yeah.
That was pretty exciting. I'll have Gerald Coetzee at number 8. He bowled fast throughout the tournament, as I said, and he bowled his fastest throughout the tournament in the final game. He got up to 150 and over 150 consistently in his 8th over, in his 9th over, and in his 10th over. Number 9 is Mohammad Shami. We all know why we can't leave him out. He averages 9 in the cricket. That is impossible. Adam Zampa is at 10, and Jasprit Bumrah is at 11. I have no 12s. I don't plan on getting anybody injured in a hypothetical game. So that's that for me. Any other thoughts?
I like your team. Shreyas Iyer is somebody that I think is a very good option. The only reason I probably left him out was because of the position that I would have slotted him in. I think if I were to change my team, he is probably somebody that would come in and probably go to 5. Mitchell would go to 6, and I would probably leave Jadeja out because I would have Maxwell to bowl overs. I would have Coetzee, Shami, Bumrah, and Zampas. I would have the dead 5. But I think he's a notable player. He had a very good World Cup, especially at the number 4 position, a position that India generally struggles with. So I think he was very good.
So we'll also be selecting a second 11. We'll call this the MVP 11. It's basically the best, the players that we thought were the best players from each team. We'll give Australia 2 picks because they're the champions and there are only 10 teams in the tournament, and we can't go to 10. You want to start with yours?
All right. I think for Australia, my player would be Mitchell Marsh. I think he gave them something different in this World Cup. We all expected big runs from David Warner, of course. Steve Smith would have probably expected a bit more from Labuschagne as well. Maxwell was also good down to the middle, but I think Mitchell Marsh provided them impetus opening at number 3, and he provided a bit of, he was selfless. He was a team player. He played whatever role the team wanted, and I think that's why I wouldn't leave him out of my 11. The next team would be
We can go South Africa next.
South Africa.
Well, you have 2 Australians. You have a second Australian.
I have a second Australian. Well, my second Australian pick would be Maxwell. I can't leave Maxi. Maxwell is a once-in-a-generation type of player. I think he's very exciting. You don't often get players like him. You oftentimes have very prolific run scorers. Then you have players who are entertainers and exciting. And I think Maxwell, he isn't that prolific, I would say, but he finds almost a very good balance. So for this format, you got to have Maxi.
South Africa.
For South Africa, this one is a bit difficult because there are so many options. I think De Kock is a good option, Coetzee is a good option, Marco Jansen is a good option. I think for this one, I would definitely go with Quinton. 4 centuries in the World Cup. You can't leave somebody like that out of a team. You must have him.
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka, that's an easy one. Madhushanka is a standout performer. He was brilliant with the ball. He picked up 5 wicket hauls. He played in a team that was one of the weaker ones in the tournament, a bit of a letdown. It's a young team, I would say, but he was outstanding. Can't leave him out.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. This one is funny because we spoke about him a lot throughout the tournament. I think he started too far down the order, but towards the end of the tournament, he moved further up and he was very good. My player from Bangladesh has to be Mamadullah Riyad. Very good with the bat, finishing the innings and playing the number 5, number 6 role late towards the end of the innings. Consistent scorer, very good player, and I think he was still underutilized in the tournament.
It's getting difficult now. The Netherlands.
The Netherlands. I think Aryan Dut was the standout performer for me. He played a difficult role, I would say, opening the bowling with the new ball. There were a number of good performers for the Netherlands in a tournament in which we didn't really expect much from them. You know, you have the likes of Scott Edwards, Engelbert, Logan van Beek, those guys. But I think Aryan Dut is the standout for me from the Netherlands in my team.
India.
India. India. Virat Kohli. It's a tough choice between Kohli and Shami for this one, but I can't leave out somebody that averages 95 with a bat and has 9 milestones in 11 innings. Impossible to leave him.
New Zealand.
New Zealand. My pick from New Zealand, Rachin Ravindra. Brilliant throughout the tournament, young player, exciting. First World Cup, standout performer.
Pakistan.
Pakistan. This one is a tough call. I think my pick from Pakistan would be the opener, Shafiq
Abdullah.
Abdullah.
That's a good pick. That's a very good pick, but yeah.
Yeah, he came into the tournament, he didn't start. He had big shoes to fill, I would say, because Imam Ul Haq was there and Fakhar Zaman was there. Fakhar Zaman only played the first game of the tournament and he was brought in after. He scored a century, he scored half centuries, and I think he's one of the persons that could hold his head high at the end of Pakistan's campaign.
Afghanistan.
Azmatullah. Azmatullah is my pick from Afghanistan. I think it was a difficult choice there. I think a number of the top order players were very good, from probably numbers 1 to 4. They were all good, but Azmatullah takes my pick as the standout. He's my favorite player from that team.
And when I was thinking about all of this, I got to 10 and was struggling. I said, but how can there be only 10 players when there are 10 teams and Australia has 2 picks? So I went back through the list of teams and I said, oh, we forgot England. England.
This one is difficult. They were so woeful in the tournament. I believe they underperformed greatly. They came in with so much potential. I think if I were to take anybody from that team, it would probably be David Willey. I think he came in towards the latter part of the tournament with not much fanfare around him. He picked up some important wickets. He got to 100 wickets in one-day international cricket. He has retired over his probably treatment from the ECB, but if anybody were there to pick, it would probably be between him and Malan. I would go with David Willey.
All right, well, my team is a bit different from Akim's. I am probably 60% with him. The other 40, I have some different players. For Australia, I have Adam Zampa. No explanation why he made my team. And my second Australian would be David Warner.
The Bull.
The Bull. He has 2 centuries in the tournament, along with 3 half centuries, and he set the tone for Australia's batting effort. Especially knowing that the middle order was struggling. He allowed Labuschagne after the first 2 games to scratch around. He allowed Steve Smith to scratch around and set the platform. So guys like Glenn Maxwell, Mitchell Marsh at 3, Travis Head at the other end could settle into their game and then score the runs that they needed to. For South Africa, I have Quinton de Kock. No explanation there. Dilshan Madushanka for Sri Lanka. He's the 3rd leading wicket taker in this year's tournament. He is one of my surprise players. He started the tournament in Sri Lanka's schoolboy bowling attack with Patirana at 18 and Teakshan at 23 leading the bowling attack. Madushanka stood out. He got big name players out in all the games. He bowled beautifully and he has my pick for Sri Lanka. Mahmudullah from Bangladesh, batting at number 8, making centuries. He's magical. I thought he was being wasted in the lower order. Eventually, when it was a bit too late, I think he came up to number 6 and provided decent runs. He wasn't supporting anybody because no one else had presented themselves in the tournament thus far. Netherlands. It was a tough choice between Scott Edwards and Sibran Engelbrecht.
Yeah.
But I went with Engelbrecht. He got 4 half centuries in this competition. 2 of them were not out. And we know how the Netherlands collapsed every game. They were inside the power play 30 for 3. At the 15th over, they had been 4 and 6 down, and him and the captain seemed to come together on more than one occasions and repaired the Netherlands innings. So he was good for me. Other considerations were Bas the leader. He's really a batting all-rounder. He got 1 score with the bat. He got 16 wickets in the tournament, but he was going at about 7 and over. So that's a bit tough for me. India.
One pick.
There's not one pick. I go with the man that averages 9 with the ball, Mohamed Shami. I thought he really backed up the opening bowlers well. Bumrah and Mohamed Siraj, they never tore through batting lineups that like the way we expected. They got 1 wicket here, 1 wicket there, 2 wickets there. But when Mohamed Shami came on, it was total destruction. He got 7 wickets in a World Cup. You and I are both bowlers, and we know how difficult it is to get a 5-wicket haul in a 50-over game. It's a lot easier for numbers 1, 2, and 3 to get a century, but getting a 5 in a 50-over game is very, very difficult. He got 7 in 1. Mohamed Shami is my pick for India. New Zealand, Rachin Ravindra. Daryl Mitchell was second. It wasn't really a close second, but Rachin Ravindra for his emergence on the world scene, scoring those 3 centuries. I was just in awe in all of his innings. Pakistan. It was a tough choice between Abdullah Shafiq and Shaheen Shah Afridi. Shaheen got the wickets at the end that we expected him to get, but not in the manner that we expected. He basically evolved into another kind of bowler after about the second game. He realized that the new ball wasn't giving him much support, and he basically turned himself into a middle innings bowler. Before this, he was a opening bowler in the first 8 overs there, and then he would come back in the death and pick wickets up. But this time, he got wickets in the middle of the innings. He got a 5-wicket haul in one game, and he got wickets towards the end. He ended the tournament with about 18 wickets. So it was a close call between him and Abdullah Shafiq, but I think I would give Abdullah the edge. He came in, made a century the first game, and got 3 half centuries, and I think I'd go with him. Afghanistan. A tough call for me between Azmatullah and the captain, Hashmatullah.
Yeah. The Matt boys.
The Matt boys. My thing with Azmatullah, though, he got 2 big half centuries. He was not out on both occasions, the 95 and the 88. He's an all-rounder, but he only got 4 wickets. And his economy wasn't as good as we would have thought for a all-rounder of his quality. The captain, Hashmatullah, he got 5 half centuries. 2 of them were not out. And I thought his leadership of the Afghanistan team, the way he used the bowlers, we might have thought that they were a fast bowler short at times. They only had Naveen, and the other opening bowler struggled at times, which led to Azmatullah having to bowl in some games. He never bowled his full quota in any of the games. On some occasions, he also went for 10. It was a difficult pick, but I think I'll go with Hashmatullah. I just selected him. For me, England, easy pick, Ben Stokes. He only played 6 games. He made a century. He made 2 half centuries, and he made a 45. There was no... The closest person for me was, as I said, David Willey and probably Dawid Malan, but I would go with Ben Stokes. So you think we can make a decision on the... Let's go back to the top. You think we can make a decision on the World 11? No? Who would be the 11? We're not picking any 12 men. It's a hypothetical game.
Okay. Rohit Sharma.
Yeah.
We can agree on that. Dikak.
Yeah.
Virat Kohli. Ravindra. Daryl Mitchell.
Yeah.
Glenn Maxwell. Oh, Iyer then Maxwell.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
4 more.
4 more.
Yeah. You don't have any bowlers, as it?
Shami, of course.
Yeah.
Would also have Bumrah. You had Bumrah. Coetze.
Yeah, that's the 11.
And Zampa, or that's 11?
Yeah, Zampa.
And that's 11.
Sorry.
I feel we can
So we made the one switch.
Jadeja
for
Ayer.
Shreyas. We go with the dead 5 bowlers.
I mean,
Darryl Mitchell with a few doublers.
and Maxi.
Yeah, I guess.
And Ravindra has some
with
overs as well.
We won't need to see Virat Kohli bowling any of that rubbish anymore. You have anything else you'd like to add to any of these discussions?
No, I think that's it. It was an enjoyable tournament. I thoroughly enjoyed following all the games. It was interesting to see some of the players emerge onto the world stage. A few players were disappointments as well. That is the nature of sport. You know, everybody, they can't be good every day, and that's the nature of sports with the fluctuations. But a very good watch. I believe that 50 over cricket is not dead, and there's a place for it, and I'm looking forward to the next World Cup.
All right. That's it from us today, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys.